All right, welcome in everybody to week 6. This is Jeddah or Saudi Arabia, one of the tracks that's actually called its name for some reason. Most people just call it Jeddah, but based in Saudi Arabia. Everyone's picking their tires and getting ready to go out and qualifying. We will read everyone's names, and then in between sessions, we'll give you guys the standings update and maybe just some general news while we wait the minute to let everyone pick their strategies and all that. But here we are underway. We start at the top. I always do that. Starting at the top, we have a reserve in for Caruso last week. He was P5. Reserve for him is Faint Fawn, who we just call Fawn. Lucid Cardiac, Lucid, Vivoda, Vivoda, Cloud City, Cloud, MK7 Hitch is Hitch, Anime Boys, Anime, 50 and 07 is Heatley, Coach Fantasy is Coach, Mini Squatch is Squatch, Final Flame is Flame, Mel Gibson is Mel, Goat Lee in the proper car, which is Aston Martin this week, is Goat. MJW28 is MJW, also reserving for Josh. EXO is Dave or David. The Yuppie is Yuppie. Mattman is Matt. The Gronk 2017 is Gronk. Dismal Games is Dismal. And Kryptonic Swag is Kryptonic. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's go on board with Mattman. He'll be the first person to start a lap. And let's just clear all that off of the screen. And right on board, a lap around Jeddah, the first street circuit on the calendar. And should be entertaining. It definitely punishes drivers for getting it wrong. As we'll watch Matt go through his out lap, and then we'll ride on board with his first flying lap. But this is the first street circuit of Can-Am season in week 6. Usually I feel like we get one before this, but street circuits tend to be a little more difficult, a little less places to overtake, and a lot of corners that you have to get right in succession here in Jeddah. This is one of the fastest circuits, I think the fastest street circuit. Here goes Matt starting his lap. You want to brake at just about the 100 is where he brakes, maybe a little too deep. Up over the curb there, beats the front wheels a little bit, but hugging every wall. And now here you want to just coast through this left-hander. He does pretty nicely, riding on the curb just a little bit. And now here's the group of corners that you want to get right. He stays off of the demon curb on the exit, doesn't get beached, and takes that pretty safe, I would say, but gets through there. Now into the big banking left-hander at the start of sector 2. Into another corner you just almost want to coast through. You want to definitely keep the car able to turn in right there. Matt locks up a little bit going into that corner. Very easy to do here. Brake early, and then you want to just release off everything as you come through these corners. Here's another one just to the left. You want to get on the power quickly, open everything up so that your car rotates through the corner. And through sector 3, the first the second DRS straight of the lap, really the first overtaking zone. And now the next DRS zone to the finish line. It's a 128.5. On board with Dismal going through sector 3 as MJW does a 130.4. This is Dismal's favorite track on the calendar, so you might see him have a mega result here. Vivoda 128.4, Dismal 127.4, improving by a full second. The Yuppie unlucky after last week with the disqualification as Kryptonic goes to 27-7, 3/10 behind Dismal. Yuppie looking to get back where he qualified last week, firmly in that top 10. Fawn is 5th. Go 8th and Yuppie 6th. Yuppie would love to stay 6th, but will probably need to improve the 129.0. As Mel comes in right behind him at 129.7. But yeah, Yuppie, a great qualifying session last week and just unlucky that he could not. He wasn't, not that he could not finish it, but that he was unlucky to get disqualified and immediately sent away. As we see, I think Dismal trying to scramble, getting out of the way of Hitch, going through Sector 2 here. If the track map doesn't lie, I always say that. It's a purple Sector 2. I haven't seen too many new times come in on the timing screen to the left. Hitch to the line, it's a 27.8, which puts him 3rd. Gronk on inters, that's not going to be a good time. Dave is on an invalid lap. Heatley looks to be on a lap. I've been on the onboard so much, I need to be on the director cam for some of it. Starting Sector 3 with his teammate, maybe giving him a bit of a tow here. Not too much. Into the final corner here. Skronk does go 11th, now 12th, as Cloud goes P2 with a McLaren 1-2 right now, and Heatley going P5. As the drivers who have yet to set a time are just coming out onto the track. Right now, a McLaren 1-2. Could they be the first team we've seen to lock out the front row? And maybe the only team capable. As qualifying, you see a lot less variance in the results. Very, very based on pure pace. So a lot of the times you'll see the same drivers in the top couple, and you'll see a little bit of variance in the midfield. Usually you can say a qualifying range of someone. So best qualifying for someone could be P7 and their worst is, your worst can always be last. It's kind of just your ceiling. So a lot of these drivers would be happy with a P7 or a P8. Some drivers yet to make a Q3, quote unquote, qualifying in the top 10. On board was Squatch. Purple Sector 1, if the track map isn't lying. Who knows? I have not memorized what good sector times are. Looks like Squatch takes that corner nicely. You definitely want to attack that corner and be on the exit curb. Same thing here. I think the director cam just doesn't bring the level of excitement that an onboard does around Jeddah, just flying through these corners, and you can't really see the next part of the track, and it's just exhilarating, as we did not see Lucid go P2 as Squatch right above his reserve teammate this week, Fawn, P9. No one else has moved too much. Go putting on the soft tires and starting a lap here. I think I at least think so. Excuse me. Anime, I think, crossed the line, but must have been an invalid lap. We stay on board with GOAT. Purple sector 1 for him, down 8 seconds. Because his first lap was on inters, and they're touching the wall a little bit. Definitely not what he wants to see. But again, opening up the car through that first little chicane and just rolling through these turns. You want to preserve as much speed as you can. Down 10 seconds, so looking to get a 130 at least. We'll see what he can do in this final sector compared to him on inters. As Dave has retired from the session, he's going to qualify 19th. GOAT P5. We did see a couple mistakes here in his lap as he invalidates that one. And Flame goes P10. Looks like Kryptonic was up a half second. So right on board with Dismal as he looks to set another lap here. Possibly improve his provisional pole time, as Cloud and Lucid only separated by 2 thousandths. Oh, and he went for it and invalidated pretty early, so maybe he'll be able to save fuel and get another lap in. Heatley looks to be just starting a new lap. Loose there, and now couldn't hang on to it through the tricky part of the first sector. MJW has improved his time to a 1:29.5, but still 5 tenths to go to get to Yuppie in P13. Mel through sector 1. He is on a hot lap, 2 tenths down. Looks like it's going to see him above MJW. See how Mel is at the end of sector 2 here. 4 tenths down. Track map tells him it's purple. I don't think it is. 4 tenths is going to net him 1 spot. He needs to drop around 7 or 8 tenths to get up into P12. And he drops 3.5 tenths for P15. As Hitch goes provisional pole by only about 2 or 3 hundredths. So McLaren looked to be possible front row lockout, is now 2nd and 4th. So we'll ride on board with Anime as he starts his first lap, hoping to get a time registered here. The only Williams driver today, missing his teammate Buddha, who again was in for what looked to be another good result and just hasn't been able to get through the race. Was caught with an unfortunate DNF last week. So hope to see him back soon and hopefully able to finish a race, as his pace is definitely improved. Anime to the line. It's going to be enough to get by Coach, but Coach is starting another lap here. A lot of drivers in the pits. Vivoda in 9th. Doesn't look to be on a hot lap. And Dismal and Cloud out together. And we have 3 minutes left as Hitch pulls into the pits, and Vivoda on a slow lap does tap the wall. We'll see. I think Coach is going to be the first one to start a lap. Looks like a McLaren between him and Vivoda, actually. So Vivoda will be the first driver to start, but we'll stay on board with Coach here and see what he can do as he hits the wall. Starting his flying lap, and I think that is Dismal right in front. No, it's Cloud. So we'll see how Coach is doing, and then we might switch over to Vivoda and Cloud, or at least pay attention to see where their times are. Vivoda, Coach, and Cloud will be the first 3 across the line here in a little group of final laps. He is down through Sector 1. It seems so quiet and peaceful in the broadcast view, where it's like chaos on the onboard. Traffic getting out of the way so far. Looks like you might have 1 or 2 more drivers. As Vivoda will be to the line first. It was down a tiny bit through Sector 2 and does add. Now Cloud is the next one. He invalidated, so that's going to be his session. Now back to Coach. To the line, it's only 17th, 200ths behind MJW. Let's go on board with GOAT as we watch the timing sheet to the left. It's going to start heating up. Basically, the last lap has started for all these qualifying drivers, and in about 4 minutes, everyone went from pit next to their name to nothing, signaling that they're driving a lap. GOAT to the line. This will likely be his last lap that he's able to complete, unless he can somehow fire it up and get another lap in. It's good enough for provisional pole, a 1:27.3. Dismal must have invalidated or must have not improved. Lucid is invalid, and that's going to be his session done. Hitch just starting a lap. Kryptonic through the first sector. Let's see what his time is, as we do see the checkered flag. The McLaren duo is 3rd and 5th after the front row for a tiny bit, as Flame has retired. Looks like crashed the car just before the Sector 1 timing line. Fawn improves to P8. Matt does pit. That'll be his session in P9 currently, but a couple people looking to jump him at the end of the session. We're still on board with Kryptonic, who's down 5 thousandths. He's going to need to find some time, as Gronk does finish ahead and goes P10, but only for a tiny bit, as Squatch beats him out into P10 for him. MJW improves to 15th at the bottom. Yuppie is 14th. Kryptonic going down the final stretch. Does drop a 10th, but doesn't move position. Heatley is on an invalid lap, and Hitch is up 3/10. So I don't think we're going to see him improve at all, or at least improve enough to be able to dethrone GOAT, who does look like he's going to take pole. And yes, he is, as we see him into the pits. And that's going to be your session. Goat is pole with Hitch, and Dismal Lucid are the front two rows. 4 different teams. Dismal's teammate will be starting behind him. Cloud and Kryptonic is 6th. Heatley in 7th. Fawn and Squatch for Haas in the top 10, and Matt splitting them to round out your top 10. And we will go through some of the results currently in the season, but there is your qualifying. There's everyone's time. I would say the big story is David not getting a time on the board. Qualifying P19. Not sure what happened there. But our standings going into this week, after Kryptonic won last week and was the first winner, we have Hitch in P1 with 126 points, ahead of Kryptonic, who has 80 points. So a 46-point gap. Heatley in 3rd with 70, Cloud with 60 in 4th, Goat with 48 in 5th, and Dismal with 37 6th. The Mercedes pair of Lucid and Gronk, 30 and 22 points respectively. Squatch in 9th with 15 points. And Caruso, who is not here today, is tied with Flame for 10 points. So could possibly switch. Then the Constructors, Alpine leads with that same 126-point total. McLaren is P2 with 97, looking to do the best that they can when Hitch is almost always coming in 1st and 2nd. Kick in 3rd with 82, Red Bull with 70, Aston Martin with 62, Mercedes with 52, and then the drop-off to Haas with 29, Racing Bulls with 15, Ferrari with 11, and Williams yet to score a point. That's really all I have. Last week at Silverstone, a couple storylines. Hitch on pole, Heatley was 2nd, and Kryptonic 3rd. Nothing really crazy in qualifying. Yuppie was P7, I think his best qualifying result for the season. Then Kryptonic won after we had 4 drivers and start the race and not finish, which is pretty uncharacteristic for Tier 1. Josh scoring his first points of the season as well. Squatch in P7 and a double point for Haas with Caruso in P5. Definitely their best result on the season. Dismal also out of the points. That another big story. He was able to snag the fastest lap point towards the end of that race. And the Aston Martin pair out of the points as well. So likely spurring on some good results again. Josh in P9 with his first points of the season. And Matt also P8 to probably double his points on the season, all because the 2 Aston Martins and the McLaren of Dismal were out of the points last week. So basically knocking everyone 3 spots higher is definitely going to change what results usually come. And I was correct, unless you count Canada as a street circuit, which it feels like a street circuit, but it's not. This is the first street track of the season. So, I think we're ready to get underway once someone readies up. And we're ready to get this thing started. Don't know if there's anything else to recap. Maybe some team moves. A bunch of reserves signed once again this week. In other tiers, the Haas team in Tier 2 has replaced a driver, Capitano, has retired from the season and will be replaced by Jay, who has been reserving for Haas in Tier 3, has been getting top results there, so steps into a full-time driver role in Tier 2. So his debut race in Tier 2 will be tonight. You can catch that stream on Bucko's channel, PFC 23 Bucko. I need to put that in the Discord bot. That should be making automated messages in this chat, but it's not because I haven't touched it. So, looks like we're going to be running up soon. Is there anything else I want to say? Another driver who retired in Tier 2 was Tin Man. He's getting replaced by NASCAR, who had his debut race last week. And I think he qualified pole, but then the wet weather changed all that. Sad that we have not seen wet weather for Tier 1 yet. And definitely not going to see it in the desert of Saudi Arabia. Let's pull up the tire strategy. We will have plenty to talk about here. No, not really. Everyone on the mediums except Anime and Flame, both on the hard tires, so they'll be hoping that a safety car doesn't come out too early. So everyone pretty much on the same strategy as we coast through this formation lap. It'll be interesting to see how the couple reserves pan out. Fawn stepping down from his full-time role last season. Amazon, thank you to AWS for the one-stop or two-stop strategy. Medium to hard, it says, is the top strategy. Or you could put on 2 hard tires for probably little to no reason. Don't think we'll see anyone do that. It might be a medium hard medium two-stop. But I think it's the tire wear. We were all excited for how much the tire degradation is and how much you can save tires, but it's all basically went down into the one-stop strategy is almost always faster. Once again. So, no merit to the two-stop. Hopefully, EA will be able to figure that out and give us some two-stop that actually works and that's viable. But for now, I think most drivers will be preferring the one-stop strategy. We're going to stay on board with the leaders here and watch how they start. We've obviously seen some electric start. We've seen some electric starts in real life as Dismal goes way over the line there. And this is where we've seen Piastri and Verstappen collide. Maybe not collide, but someone... I think Piastri forced Verstappen completely wide, so we'll see if that happens again. Obviously a little awkward for the first place to be starting on the outside, but here we go. Underway in Jeddah. As we don't see anything, but here's the run to turn 1. No crazy moves happening. We do see some drivers up, some down, but it looks like everyone survived through the first couple corners. The leaders all getting through. And it looks like everyone pretty much in the top 10 has kept their position almost through the order. They've kept their position. Coach and David up a couple spots, and now Mel having an issue, and towards the back, him and Yuppie maybe got into it a little bit as Vivoda and Flame side by side, which knocks Vivoda off the line, and Coach goes through to gain another position to his great start of the race. Now he's side by side with Flame. Slots in, thinks better of it. This 4 are tight, and everyone else in the DRS train is breaking off after Gronk, but everyone else still within a second of each other. We'll see if the train breaks off as this top 11 now. Looks like Gronk is almost fading out of Squatch's DRS, and now, again, more racing here as Coach gets by Flame, who doesn't appear to have damage, but starting on those hard tires, maybe struggling a little bit, as we do have a caution as Anime is off the track into the wall. And again, we see Flame overtaken again in the first stint of this race on those hard tires. Really no one moving in the top 11, so we're going to take off the positions change as David gets by another, and Yuppie and Anime do have to pit, which Anime gets a 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalty. We don't really need any details, I guess. It's just the tires. As it looks like Lucid was passed as well, down into 5th. McLaren teammates now 3rd and 4th. And I think everyone's still on the same tires. That would be the one position change we've seen out of the top 11. Cloud and Lucid flipping positions. Kryptonic now close behind, and Vivoda gets by Coach. Everyone's still well within DRS. Gronk getting by Squatch. Towards the back of this is Kryptonic also getting by Lucid, so Lucid may be struggling a little bit here. But now going to be firmly on the back of Kryptonic. Is he going to be able to make a move in the DRS train? As Hitch sets the fastest lap, is he going to get the move done on go? No. Went to the battle because I saw the time difference and go very slow through the second corner. Hitch, a little bit of contact there. No damage from it. No harm, no foul. As David getting up past Coach. The two drivers down towards the bottom who've made up a couple positions to start this race, but a 2-second gap from Vivoda to Squatch is going to make it tough to bridge the gap from the drivers behind. We're on board with some of the drivers towards the top of the field, and Lucid now 6/10 away. Everyone else about 4 or 5/10. So right on board with Faint Fawn here. Right behind Heatley in P7. Missed the first 5 weeks. Come back as a reserve and looks like he never missed a beat. As a great exit there. Is he going to be able to get by Heatley? No, it doesn't look like it as Heatley takes off down the straight. Maybe burning a bit of ERS, or the opposite, maybe turning it off there towards the end. But we can see how tough it is to break out of this DRS train. Heatley now down the inside and losing the rear of the car just a little bit. Battling with Lucid now side by side, but Heatley is going to get by Lucid through Sector 1. Obviously don't want to go side by side there, and Lucid is missing an end plate. So that is why he's been just sinking down the order here. You can see on the right side of his car, he is missing one of those end plates, as we do see time penalties, and now we have a caution Looks like that might be Coach who just lost the spot, but I don't think so. And now a driver off. As not sure what happened there. Looks like the Williams of Anime with the blue flag, and looks like Fawn had an issue. Something went wrong with him, and he's fallen down to 11th. We do have another caution. Nothing that I can see. So we do have an overtake for the last corner for the lead. That's Hitch. Will he be able to hold everyone off now? Dismal looking for an opening, isn't going to find it, and Hitch now leads the DRS train. He's top 5, very close, and Heatley in P6 now is the leader of a separate train. So a couple breaks in the DRS, but Heatley looking to bridge that gap here, 1.2. Only a second now, so just needs a good sector 2, and we'll be able to get back into the DRS. That'll help him stay close to the leaders and still be battling for whatever position. As again, this track is quite difficult, and you never know when someone is going to make a mistake. This is definitely a test of endurance to see if these drivers can continue to nail every corner, and especially on degrading tires. It's going to get harder and harder, as now Lucid is the driver that looks to be slipping out of DRS without that end plate really harming him, and you can see how wide he gets as we go on board with Matt looking to attack him. Maybe not this DRS straight, but the next one, as he takes the final corner and just can get a lot more exit speed, and you can see already gaining so much on Lucid, who dives into the pits now and lets everyone by. Fawn also having to pit, so both those drivers having to repair some damage and hopefully getting out in the clean air, as there is quite the gap in the middle of the field. MJW pitting as well, Yuppie and Anime pitting, and Goat did have an issue. He rode that curb, which beached him, and the McLaren drivers now both getting through. Cloud battling. Cloud to the outside. Goat hanging on down the inside. He couldn't hold on enough, and Goat keeps P3, almost letting both of them by. But now Hitch has a little bit of a gap to work with, and Dismal is going to be without DRS, and this might be the gap that Hitch needed just to run away with this, especially if Goat is going to attack, and he thinks better of it as the helicopter shot saw how close he got alongside Dismal. But now the gap 1.9 is Kryptonic attacking Cloud. You can see towards the back of your screen, and he gets the move as now you can see it a little bit more clear. It's Anime with a penalty, and Dismal maybe a bit wide, touching the wall, and now he's going to be under attack by almost this entire train behind him, as Goat is the one getting the move. And Goat is the only driver getting the move done, as Dave is up on Vivoda and is within DRS. Now Squatch, the leader of that train. We see Goat recover the positions lost after that mistake, but it's going to be tough to recover the gap now that it's opened up for Hitch and P1, who's now 1.9 seconds ahead and has extended from 1.5 seconds. Everyone else firmly locked into the DRS battle. Matt a little bit behind and under siege from Gronk, and then these three, as looks like Goat has had an issue. Of course, we just go off him for a second. He has another issue, maybe through sector 1 or 2, and now finds himself in 6th. I think maybe has a bit of wing damage, trying to see, but The director camera is not helping me out here. The Aston Martin wing is so dark, these end plates, I'm not sure. I think the left one might be missing, but we have a retirement and we have a safety car. Anime does retire, and does Goat have wing damage? I don't think it's going to matter because all these medium runners should be heading into the pits. And look at them all go as Cloud's trying to gain enough of a gap not to double stack. We'll stay on board with him and see if he can do that as Anime has left the session. No, he is going to double stack behind Dismal, who gets out maybe a little late. Cloud's pit stop looks fine, but is now down to P7. All those drivers who pit just a couple laps ago, maybe gaining a little bit. As we see Fawn and Goat, looks like Fawn is going to retain the place. Fawn up to P9 after pitting before the safety car. Usually it's the opposite here. Usually he's the one losing out since he didn't get the cheap stop, but able to get back in a point-scoring position. But is going to be on 2-lap-old tires, just a couple laps older than the rest of the field. But now we'll see if the drivers can one-stop from here. I would assume it's likely going to be possible. But again, we might see some mistakes from the field. As now, after the safety car ends, we have a little bit of a shuffle in the grid. Hitch in P1, Dismal P2, Kryptonic P3, Heatley P4, and Matt in P5. He's been running a good race, avoiding some incidents around him, and earned himself a top 5 position in the safety car restart. Squatch P6, Cloud P7 after the double stack. He'll be looking to attack. Vivoda in P8, just ahead of Fawn, who will be looking to get ahead of him as soon as he can, but Vivoda as well. Avoiding incidents. Was maybe around that bridge to the DRS, has led the train in the back half of the field and now finds himself in P8. Looking to score points, but Goat is going to be hungry behind him as Gronk dives into the pits, maybe looking to get rid of those medium tires. Coach in P11 up a couple spots here as we can flip that up. Coach up 6 spots, Flame up a spot, but with a penalty. Dave also up 6 spots, and Mel and MJW up a spot apiece as Gronk is down now 5 spots. Yuppie is down 3, and Lucid having a disastrous race, down 14 spots. Everyone else at the top in the green. Obviously, when you're at the top, you have a better chance to being green. When you're at the bottom, you have a higher chance of being red. But only up a couple spots. No one has really jumped the entire field. Just a couple drivers that have fallen quite a bit. Goat down 9 spots. And Lucid down 14. 6 seconds of penalties for Flame, the only driver with penalties affecting their current position. And everyone from the top 15 is on a 1 stop. Gronk and Yuppie on 2 stops. Lucid has stopped 3 times, and Anime did stop 4 times before his eventual DNF. Safety car is coming in this lap, and we'll see how drivers get away here. Dismal, eager to get back up with the field and Again, Hitch looked like he was going to run away with this battle, but he is right back into this thing. Dismal trying to get a read on the restart, and Hitch does get a good restart, and Kryptonic behind, right on the tail of Dismal. Hitch maybe catching him a little bit off guard, but everyone seems to be getting through civilly as Goat around the outside, getting by Fawn very quickly for him. And he's going to want to do all these moves as quick as he can. Two drivers on the medium tires as Coach looking for a way through, and Flame as well. They're going to have quite the advantage on this restart, but they might need to pit again as Coach now picks up a penalty. Gronk is up a couple spots, and MJW maybe had some kind of issue as he goes down into 18th. Coach a little deep there, a little too hot, and Flame gets the move done on him, as we don't see too many changes of position towards the top. Squat still fending off Cloud, who's just behind him, and now might be going for a move heading into this little chicane. Not really chicane, I don't know what you would even want to call it, but does get the move done, and Squatch okay to let that one by. Goat did get by Vivoda as well, and now Fawn may be looking to try without DRS yet, so no move from Fawn as of now, but maybe might be trying to burn some ERS as Hitch sets the fastest lap, but there goes the train in front of him. Nothing doing for Fawn and nothing doing for the drivers around him. This looks like the two medium drivers are going to be anxious to see what they can do on the better tires at this stint in the race, but not sure how that is going to play out towards the end of the race, probably needing to pit. Flame another time penalty now. That is going to seriously hemorrhage his race. And that is going to be tough to come back from. Matt in P5, but now out of the DRS, so he's going to be under attack quite a bit from the drivers behind, especially Cloud and Goat looking to climb through the field. Can't imagine that Squatch is going to fight too much with Goat. He's just going to be happy to take the DRS and possibly get after Matt after Cloud and Goat inevitably get by the pair here. This Cloud might not be waiting too long, and Goat doing the same thing behind. Just getting by here. Is Goat going to be able to go for a 2-for-1? No, but he might on this straight find a gap, and he's going to take off as Matt maybe defending a bit. Goat with the fastest lap, but Matt keeping the position for most of the straight, but now Goat sending a move down, getting that move done, and Flame with yet another penalty, 12 seconds penalties for him. They are just rampant for him as there's the positions changed again. Don't really need any more information. Yuppie down a couple spots. Flame now losing positions, and we've had maybe a couple incidents that we've missed towards the back of the field. Dave up into 8th, but has quite the gap. Fawn as well, with a gap developing from him to Vivoda, and wonder if he has damage again. No, it doesn't look like it, so he'll be trying to catch that train. Gronk down in P12. He's going to be looking to battle Dave, and they'll all be trying to connect this train up into 10th and looking to score a point or two towards the end of this race. As you can see on the track map, no one really spaced out yet, but Kryptonic, a little bit of a story here without DRS, and now Heatley going to be trying to find a way around, as now it's 1.5 seconds quickly after only one DRS zone. Same thing with Cloud and Goat. Flame getting up a place towards the back, and Heatley getting past Kryptonic here. Goat as well, getting past Cloud. Matt still hanging with him, just barely in the DRS, but now goes a little wide. Didn't look like Squatch behind him got the best of exits either. But nothing happening there, not an overtaking zone, and now Vivoda right on their tail and not under any pressure from behind, so he is free to attack and to battle, and they've got some gap to play with here as Goat has made his way back up through the field as David gets a time penalty. A 3-second time penalty is not going to help him get up through the field and possibly look for points, as Lucid will be eager to get back, but losing some time here on the sheet. 1.9. Does he have any damage or anything? Doesn't look like it. So Lucid still should be good to go, but we're seeing these gaps kind of air out. Up at the top, Dismal still in DRS, but just barely hanging onto it. There is 3 DRS zones through this lap, so DRS is vital. This Kryptonic now getting back at Heatley. And we see maybe some side-by-side action behind them as Squatch goes around the outside, gets past Matt, who goes a little defensive there. Goat going to be eager to get on his way through these two. It might be a little tougher than his first couple overtakes. Hitch and Dismal breaking away from the field here. A 3-second or 2-second gap to Kryptonic, who is under quite the bit of pressure here from the next couple drivers behind, Heatley, Goat, and Cloud. Then they have quite the gap to Squatch, who just got past Matt, Vivoda, and Fawn slowly creeping up in that final points position. Here on board with Dismal, holding on to that DRS. 8-9 tenths again, but is going to get it. Goat gets by Heatley. Another driver down on his conquest to get back into the podium positions, and we'll see if he's under attack here or if he's able to get the move done on Kryptonic, and Kryptonic looks to have taken off down the straight. Heatley behind, is he going to be able to look for a move? Does go down the inside, but then thinks better of it as Matt gets by Squatch as well, and Heatley now, after that exit, was a little vulnerable, but again, so hard to overtake in that specific section of the track. Now Fawn is back into this DRS group. His eyes set on Vivoda. Gronk looking to catch up, and David right behind him. Lucid back away with Yuppie on his tail. And the next couple drivers out of DRS and quite a ways back as Flame's still on those medium tires and Coach throwing on the hards. Needing that extra pit stop has sent him down into 18th. We see Hitch and Dismal towards the front, still in DRS, have both gained a full second on the driver behind Kryptonic, who is now 3 seconds behind. Dismal not making it easy on Hitch, but Hitch maintaining pace, staying at the top of this race with 10 laps to go. Dismal looked a little out of shape there on the exit, but still in that DRS and still maintaining a gap. Kryptonic sets off on his way. Goat maybe looking for a move. Finds the inside and then takes the entire track width, and Kryptonic nowhere to go. Now under attack from Heatley, and now they go side by side, and that is what I mean with not being an overtaking zone, side by side there is an absolute death trap. And I'm pretty sure that is what happened. Kryptonic would be lucky to not have damage there, and it looks like he made it out all right. But what an impact there from two drivers battling for fourth place. Now Kryptonic has some work to do. Goat 3.5 seconds back, and Dismal out of the DRS now, and you can see the gap extending a little bit, and as soon as he lost that DRS, Hitch is gone, a 1.8 second gap. And now Dismal looking to keep Goat behind at 3 seconds. Cloud and Heatley. Cloud through the outside here. And he does make the move stick. Is he going to be able to keep it as he weaves to the inside trying to defend? Retakes the racing line. Now Heatley down the inside. Makes the move. And makes it stick. Don't want to go side by side through that part of the track as see the four drivers behind them, 7th through 10th, all in the DRS, all staying civil for now. So you can see Gronk in the distance starting to catch this train. So might motivate Fawn to get by Vivoda and give himself a little bit of a buffer. And we see David around now trying to get out. And he's going to fall all the way down into 16th. Lucid still down 9 spots, has not been able to fight back as well as someone like Goat, who was down 9 spots, now only down 2 spots after a pole qualifying for him. Gronk looking to try and get in this DRS. Fawn trying to get past Vivoda, but nothing coming from that. Maybe not enough top speed on that Haas. As we did see, now we see a penalty. Heatley with a 3-second time penalty is going to cost him 2 positions currently as it stands. And we see a move as Matt now diving into the pits off the hard tires. So maybe AWS knew something that I didn't. The 2-stop strategy, he should be putting on mediums now. He is, and Gronk pitting as well. These hard tires must be absolutely dead. Vivoda with another penalty. Now these are starting to play a big factor. The heat has just cranked up. With only 7 laps to go, we've got drivers with penalties. We've got drivers pitting. I'm not sure what is going on, but there's 3 seconds of time penalties for Lucid, Vivoda, and Heatley, drastically affecting finishing order. Pitting off 10-lap hards is crazy after some tire-saving performances that we've seen out of these drivers. We'll see if any of the top drivers follow suit and opt for the mediums to end this race, but I don't think we'll see any of that as Hitch is now up 3.8 seconds. I think he can just preserve this lead, and obviously he's in the fresh air, so not as damaging on the tires. Dismal as well. He is losing some time, but not enough where he can justify a pit stop. Goat almost in that DRS range after being 3 seconds behind, and now Heatley under attack by Cloud, who's going to make the pass down the start-finish straight. He's going to take 4th. This train of 3 has been together this whole time and squash into 7th. As Fawn as well, making the move on Vivoda now, and we've got a caution. I'm not sure who it was. I thought it was a Ferrari, but it doesn't appear to be that way. But we do see both Haas drivers in the points here. It must have been Heatley, who's down in 6th now, with Squatch in the DRS now. And a reminder, you can see that little icon, that is a penalty. So Squatch within striking distance of possibly nabbing this position off Heatley for 6th place. We saw Dismal also get a time penalty, which is going to impact his winning chances drastically and possibly let Goat through, maybe less inclined to fight. But after the move that we see from Goat on Kryptonic, I'm not sure if Goat might have a penalty if that's reported. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what the Tier 1 stewards decide. Goat, after a severe penalty last week, looking to keep it clean, but maybe just a little too much, forcing his way through on Kryptonic to get back up here, but it's paid dividends as he's 3rd place, and he's almost put 5 seconds between him and Kryptonic. So, not saying that the move was justified, but the urgency is definitely justified. So both the Haas pair now, P7 and P8 without time penalties, they will both jump Heatley if the race ended now, and the drivers behind also have penalties, so not much of a threat to them. They are sitting nicely, but the leader's very spaced out. Now Hitch almost 5 seconds in front of Dismal with 5 laps to go, and Yuppie might inherit some points because of these 3-second time penalties. So we will see if he can stick with Lucid. He's been behind him for majority of the race here. Throw back on the tires, and we've got 12-lap-old hards and a couple drivers pitting. David going for the fastest lap on the soft tires. Couple drivers on the medium tires looking to battle back as we do see Goat getting by Dismal down the start-finish straight. Dismal maybe thinking about a move down the inside, but did not have the speed, and we will see him slot in to 3rd with his penalty now. Cloud would inherit that 3rd place. Now Yuppie getting by Lucid on the start-finish straight. Up into the points for him, and he's hoping to make up that gap on Vivoda and maybe getting an extra place from him. We'll see if they're able to do that. The Haas pair stays behind Heatley for now. The rest of the top pretty spaced out. Not seeing any battles towards the bottom either. MJW and Mel keeping it clean. No penalties on their record. These medium runners are trying to make up as much of gaps as they can on the hard runners, and you can see the gap slowly coming down, but maybe not fast enough for Matt. He's hoping to get back into the points after making this very bold strategy call to pit for these mediums. Now he's going to have to haul, gaining quite a bit of time now through the sector, but Lucid with DRS. Now he almost made a move on Yuppie, but he thinks better of that. And the more they battle, the easier it is for Matt to catch up, and these 3-lap mediums are going to be a lot faster than the 14-lap old hards. You can just see how quickly he's going. We've got a battle here at the top 2, side by side, and now Cloud joining the pair of Dismal and Goat through Sector 1. Again, the gap to Hitch quite irrelevant unless he makes a huge mistake or gets back-to-back penalties somehow. He has pretty much gassed the rest of them, and he has gone off into the distance. In P1 for Hitch would be his 5th win in 6 races if it holds on like this. We've got contact, and that's Yuppie around. He's going to get passed by a couple drivers here. Not sure what happened there. if he was battling with Lucid or not, or if he just lost it himself. Who knows, but not good for him. Maybe just losing it on those 14 lap old hards, and some of these drivers starting to struggle, and Matt going to be the driver to take advantage here. Is into the DRS. Is he going to be able to have enough speed to make the move? It looks like he's off the gas a little bit, as David does set the fastest lap on the soft tires. And now let's see if he can get the move done, or if he's going to wait another DRS straight. Doesn't look like he's going to do much waiting, as around the outside goes Matt, and now Dismal letting his teammate through to see if he can attack Goat a little bit, as well as the Haas teammates swapping positions as well, trying to stay penalty free, as we do see Lucid fighting back against the medium running driver of Matt, but I don't know how long that's going to last here, as Matt is going to have a significant pace advantage. But this is not good for him, as he's getting held up, and that's going to hinder his ability to maybe get Vivoda and get a couple points here, as he doesn't have any penalties. He doesn't need to pass him on track. He just needs to get within 3 seconds. And Lucid 4.5 seconds away. He needs to pass Lucid and put about 1.5 seconds from that lap. And Lucid doing nothing but just holding him up towards the end of this race here. And Matt not finding his way through now, hopefully with the DRS. But Lucid is gone for this first DRS zone. Let's see if Matt will make the same move, or if he might just wait for the start and finish straight. So we start lap 24. Let's see what Matt does. Is he going to play a little bit of DRS chicken here? Doesn't look like he's as eager to make the move now, as he should get down to the start-finish straight. Plenty of speed, a great exit for Matt here, and he is going to go flying past Lucid, as he doesn't even need to defend the move. He is gone, and we'll see if he can get in the range of Lucid, as we see a mistake from Heatley, who gets another 3-second time penalty. Now Fawn looked to the outside, but thinks better of that. Doesn't go for the move. And a lot of drivers with a bunch of warnings starting to pile up. It's Heatley with 6 seconds of time penalty now. Should only lose those 2 spots to the Haas drivers behind, as Mel picks up a penalty. 8 tenths, 4 and 3. So yeah, it's got about 7.5 seconds to Vivoda. Does have a 1.5 second gap, as again he's running on 16 lap old hards, and Fawn on 18 lap old hards, hanging on for dear life. We see Cloud getting by Goat at the top of the field here, but Goat fighting back with the up and under here, and then a little bit of contact for good measure. Fawn also getting by Heatley, not taking the chance with the penalties. And it looks like Hitch has taken a little bit off the gas, as the gap from him to Goat has went down from about 6 seconds to 5, and we do see Heatley take the place back. Thank you, Emmanuel, for telling me about view botting. That's so awesome. I would love for Twitch to take down my account. The final lap here, as Matt and Lucid both get time penalties, and that is going to kill Matt's chances of getting by Vivoda. He was in penalty range, and on the last lap gets a time penalty. We will see Hitch cross the line in first, continuing his dominance here. Wasn't very much of a question. Once he overtook Goat for the lead, he never gave it back, as he is going around this final lap, and he's going to coast his way to the finish. We see another time penalty and maybe another incident here as Heatley goes down the field, and that's going to open the door for some of the drivers. Hitch down and away out of the straight is going to win the race. Heatley retired. That is huge. Goat going to stay ahead of Cloud. Dismal across the line in fourth. He's going to keep that position. Kryptonic all the way back, 5 seconds back in fifth. The Haas pair in sixth and seventh. Once again, double points for Haas, finishing right next to each other. Vivoda in P8, Matt in P9 after his penalty. Lucid drifting around in P10. Gronk finishing in P11, and these two battling it out through the last corner. Even though Mel has a penalty, he doesn't want to give it up into the line, but he does lose out on track and after penalties. MJW in P14 filling in for Josh. Not a bad result for him. Coach in P15, and Flame with the early penalties with 12 seconds of penalties accumulated. He is going to end up P16, and David doing basically the entire lap by himself is going to end in P17. I hope the stewards look into that. We have the podium of Hitch and Goat, as well as Cloud on the final step of the podium. The Alpine team has been delighted with Hitch's performance this season. There he is with the champagne. We need to get on with it and see the gaps and see the penalties. Here they all are. We've already went through the order as they cross the line. Won't go through it again. Dave with the fastest lap. We'll grab the race director, as we should see plenty of warnings here for the drivers. Plenty of penalties towards the end that had a significant impact on the race. But overall, a great showing from a couple of the drivers. Good to have Fawn back. Even if it is as a reserve, he scores a couple points from 6th place. Great finish for him and for the team of Haas. Like I said, another double points finish for them. Those are few and far between. The McLaren team as well, finishing next to each other in the top 5. So another great finish for them. But as you can see from the left, I usually put the same track on here twice, but I have put the next track on the calendar so I don't forget. We'll be at Monza next week. Quite almost the same type of track, just very, very fast, straight line, overtaking in a big DRS zone. It's basically, if Jeddah wasn't a street circuit, it would probably be like Monza. Monza maybe a little bit easier, but still nonetheless an iconic track in F1 history. And we hope to see you there next week. Will we see another winner? Will we see some penalties come across the board and impact some finishing positions? We obviously won't have the tight walls of Jeddah that drivers were crashing into and slamming their wings off and trying to go side by side where they shouldn't. But we will see if any of that happens in Monza. Probably the most chaotic turn one of the entire calendar, and it never goes well if you do it in an open lobby or a 5-lap lobby or whatever. So we'll see if it goes well with the top drivers of Can-Am next week. So again, whatever time you're watching this, whether you're watching it live or a replay, thank you for watching this far into the video. Let's not Freddy up. Thank you for all watching, and I appreciate, and we all appreciate the support, whether it's for Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3. We appreciate you all tuning in. We hope that you either watch on YouTube or Twitch, and we hope to see you next week in Monza. Thank you, and have a great rest of your night, morning, day, evening, whatever you want to call it.